The first time they tried to annex my house, they did it with a welcome basket and a bill for $685. Yeah, that happened. And by the end of it, there were federal agents on my driveway and a woman in a silk robe screaming about community vision while getting cuffed. All I wanted was quiet. Instead, I accidentally started a suburban revolution. Let me back up a sec. I moved into Pine Hollow Estates on a cold Tuesday in late October, Pacific Northwest cold, the kind that smells like wet cedar and damp leaves, and maybe a little fresh start. My name's Michael Vale, I'm 39, I design systems for a living, the kind of guy who likes things logical, structured, predictable. I work remote. I don't blast music. I don't throw parties. I bought that house for one reason, to be undisturbed. Now here's the important part. My property sat at the very edge of Pine Hollow, technically outside the HOA boundary. I didn't assume that. I verified it, paid for an independent title search, hired a lawyer to comb through the plat maps, triple-checked zoning overlays. I am not the man who forgets to read the fine print. The house had been bank-owned, a little rough around the edges, tucked behind trees, accessed by a narrow private road that curved past an old creek bed before hitting Hillcrest Lane. It felt secluded, independent, mine. For 2 weeks, it was perfect. I unpacked, upgraded the router, installed solar lights along the fence line, set up the weather station I'd always wanted. No drama. No neighbors knocking. Exactly how I like it. Then the mail came. Heavy envelope. Gold emblem. Pine Hollow Homeowners Association, welcome packet. I actually laughed in my kitchen, alone, holding cold coffee, feeling smug. I opened it anyway. Inside were rules, bylaws, community standards, and a letter from someone named Karen West, president, welcoming me as a new member and reminding me my first monthly dues of $685 were already overdue. Overdue. I remember saying out loud, "Oh, Karen, no." I sent a polite email. Attached my deed, parcel ID, attorney letter. I am not part of your HOA. Please update your records. 3 days later, a second letter showed up, hand-delivered, no postage, tone sharper. I was in breach of Article 5, Section 2B, non-cooperation and delayed membership enrollment. I had 5 business days to sign their covenant. It was so absurd I read it twice just to make sure I wasn't misunderstanding English. Then came the vests. 10 in the morning, I'm in slippers with coffee, and 2 men are standing at the entrance of my private drive wearing reflective vests that say, HOA Compliance Unit. One has a clipboard. The other is filming me with a phone mounted on a gimbal, like I'm about to testify before Congress. Sir, clipboard says, we're here to issue an on-site notification of required compliance. I blinked. You're not serious. He didn't blink back. I gave them 15 seconds to leave before I called the sheriff. They left, slowly, disappointed, like I'd refused to join a cult potluck. I thought that would end it. It did not. The next morning I wake up to something off. Not peaceful silence, wrong silence. I check my camera feed. Concrete barriers. Massive highway-grade concrete blocks across my private road. A white van parked near my gate. Logo on the side, Pine Hollow HOA Compliance Mobile Unit. I stepped outside, and there they were again, clipboard and gimbal. Your property has been temporarily designated a zone under compliance review, he said. Assessment of what? I asked. He didn't answer. I called the sheriff. 2 deputies came, looked uncomfortable the second they saw the HOA van. They reviewed the papers, listened to both sides, and then said the 3 words that still make my eye twitch. Civil matter, sir. Meaning, unless they physically dragged me out of my house, the county wasn't touching it. So there I was, effectively blockaded on my own property in America in 2025 because a homeowners association decided I was spiritually theirs. By day 3, they'd upgraded to shifts. Trailer with tinted windows. Flag that read compliance in progress. Grocery delivery couldn't get through. Packages stopped. A flyer showed up accusing me of refusing community integration and undermining safety. There was even a stock photo of a guy who vaguely looked like me. That was the moment something shifted in me. It stopped being funny. I called Sam. We went to college together before he became a private investigator. Steel-toed boots, bug detector in the glove box, the whole vibe. I explained everything. He said, "You had me at clipboard cult." Sam dug into county records and found something interesting. 2 years prior, the HOA had filed an amendment attempting to include my lot. Rejected. But internally, their documents showed my property as part of their domain. Dual paperwork, Sam said. Shadow charter. That's when the twist dropped. Karen's brother, Daniel West, worked as a GIS technician in the county zoning office. Suddenly, this wasn't just suburban pettiness. It was manipulation of parcel overlays, soft integration targets, emails discussing unnoticed annexation. They were trying to legally blur me out of existence. Then my Wi-Fi line got physically disconnected. Then a drone hovered over my porch with Pine Hollow Compliance Aerial Division printed on the side. Yeah, they had a drone division. You can't make this up. That's when I stopped playing defense. I called my attorney, Rebecca, stone-cold real estate litigator, and said, I want to create my own HOA. Silence. Then she laughed. That's the most unhinged and legally brilliant thing I've heard this year. We incorporated the Pine Hollow Free Owners Association, PHFOA, nonprofit, state registered. Mission: protect non-HOA homeowners from unlawful annexation. We looped in 3 other perimeter owners Sam found. 2 veterans. 1 quiet developer like me. All harassed before. All fed up. We filed a collective lawsuit. And then I leaked the story to a journalist I knew. She titled it, The Invisible Fence War. It went viral. Memes popped up. HOA Empire Strikes Back. I didn't ask for attention, but attention meant scrutiny. And scrutiny is kryptonite to bullies. Karen escalated. She delivered a 78-page, unified governance charter, claiming any property sharing indirect access to HOA-managed infrastructure was subject to soft jurisdiction. Soft jurisdiction. It sounded official enough to scare people. Rebecca read it and said, they just played the nuclear bluff. The Black Charter, she called it, pseudo-legal fiction meant to look real long enough to intimidate compliance. They even posted a map online shading my property in pale yellow with a dashed red border labeled, pending enforcement validation. I stared at that map and realized something. Once fiction gets repeated enough without challenge, it becomes reality. So we challenged it. We filed for injunctive relief. Filed complaints with the State Attorney General and HUD. Submitted documentation showing forged overlays, false enforcement, harassment, obstruction. And then, one Tuesday morning, everything changed. Clipboard guy was pacing nervously at the end of my drive. No clipboard in his hands, which for him was like a shark without teeth. Then a black SUV rolled up. Not HOA. Government plates. 2 men in navy jackets stepped out. Michael Vale, one asked. That's me. We're with the U.S. Marshals Service. We have a warrant for the arrest of Karen West on charges including fraud, false imprisonment, abuse of regulatory authority, and attempted unlawful annexation. I said, say that again. Slower. They did. More vehicles arrived. Federal seal. Seized files from the HOA clubhouse. The Black Charter in print and annotated versions. Shadow ledger tracking payments from soft jurisdiction parcels. Wire fraud. Tax fraud. Conspiracy with her brother to manipulate GIS overlays. By noon, county workers were demolishing the concrete barriers like they were tearing down the Berlin Wall. One guy actually held up a chunk and yelled, "Freedom." I stood there filming it, Sam beside me sipping a Red Bull, and I couldn't stop smiling. They tried to suffocate me with paperwork. Isolate me socially. Rewrite my boundaries. In the end, receipts beat rhetoric. The lawsuit wasn't even close. The judge called the charter an elaborate pseudo-legal framework designed to simulate authority without foundation. The Black Charter became an official term in court filings. We won everything: damages, fees, injunction, and more importantly, the court ordered the dissolution of the Pine Hollow HOA entirely. Dissolved. 3 months later, the signs are gone. No more compliance vans. No more drones. Deer walk through my backyard like they own the place. And honestly, they behave better than some former board members. PHFOA still exists, but now it's a firebreak, not a war machine. We've helped other neighborhoods form defensive associations. Rebecca started a pro bono land rights program. Sam sends me the occasional photo of a rogue HOA sign getting dismantled somewhere in Nevada with the caption, "Inspired by you." A kid rode past my house last week and said, "Hey, you're the guy who beat the HOA, right?" I shrugged. "Yeah, I guess." He popped a wheelie like he was escaping imaginary bureaucrats. And I stood there in the silence, the real kind, and thought about how weird it is that sometimes to get peace, you have to fight like hell for it. I never wanted power. I just wanted space. But here's the question I keep coming back to. At what point does community standards turn into quiet tyranny? When does landscaping rule become land grab? And how many people sign papers they don't understand just because someone shows up in a vest with a clipboard and says they have to? You tell me, was I crazy to escalate it? To form my own association? To drag it into court and the press instead of just selling and walking away? Or is that exactly what people like Karen count on: fatigue, silence, compliance? Drop your thoughts. Have you ever dealt with an HOA that crossed the line? Where do you think the boundary should be between order and overreach? Because I'll say this, peace is nice. But earned peace? That hits different.